What's up, everybody? We're out in the Cherry Creek area of Denver, Colorado today, checking out the Magnum Voyager. This is a new commuting e-bike from them that's kind of similar to their MI6 and some of their other commuting models, but it's got some nice upgrades. Overall, I'm really happy with this bike. I've been having a lot of fun riding it around out here. A little bit about Magnum. If you don't know much about the company, they've been around for quite a while, making e-bikes since 2010, and they've got a hybrid model where they sell direct to consumer, but then they also have a lot of dealers scattered around the country, so you can have an opportunity to go in and test ride it, get fitted and have your support handled by a local bike shop instead of having to work through Magnum, which they do a great job with their support, and they have a good reputation for how they take care of their customers. But if it's, if you're having to ship stuff and kind of go back and forth on emails or the phone to get stuff figured out, there's only so much you can do with that process as compared to just taking it into your local dealer. So I'm a big fan of that setup. I do want to say thanks to eBikes USA down here in Denver for loaning us this test model bike for the day. And if you do live in the Front Range area in Colorado, they've got an amazing store with tons of different models, so definitely check them out. All right, so the Magnum Voyager here, this is a commuting e-bike that's fully loaded. You've got fenders, you've got a rack, you've got lights, you've got this awesome tool-free adjustable stem up here, which you see these on some bikes from time to time, but they're so nice if you maybe like changing your riding style depending on how you're feeling. If you want to sit upright, if you're a little bit more tired, if you share this bike among multiple people in your house, that's a great setup too, because you can adjust the stem for different riders. And the way you do that is you just pull this and lift up right here, and then you can rotate the handlebars, and you can also adjust the angle here as well. Let me see if I can get this put back to roughly where I had it. So I love these adjustable stems. They're a great fit, like I said, especially for the multi-rider household. Make sure that you tighten it up every now and then. There's a bolt right under here to tighten the whole thing. These do have a reputation for loosening up over time, so maybe every few hundred miles, or just if you notice that when it's locked down it's starting to kind of wiggle around a bit, you can just tighten that up and then you'll be good to go there. So that's a great aspect for a commuter. And let's talk about some of these accessories here too, because they've done a good job with making this so that you can haul all kinds of cargo on here with this rack. It's standard weight limit, which is 25 kilograms, about 55 pounds, but it's got standard gauge tubing. It's got latch points all over the place. They even include this bungee here so that you're all set for strapping down gear. You've got full coverage aluminum alloy fenders, pretty wide too at 80 millimeters. They're very well mounted, very sturdy. I didn't notice any rattle at all riding the bike over here. So that's a good job on there. And even on the front one up here, good full coverage as well. So it's going to protect the bike frame and your bottom bracket from mud, and of course you as the rider. And now you get integrated lights as well. So the one up front, this is the Solo Plus by Spinninga, very popular one. It doesn't have true side cutouts, but you can see a bit from the side, so that gives you a little bit more side visibility. Nice reflector on the front. Something unique about this light setup on this Magnum bike is it's semi-integrated. So it is wired in, it draws power from the main battery, but you can't turn it on from the display. You got to turn it on right here. You just press down on there, and you can actually turn it on whether or not the bike is powered on, which could be nice if you're riding it like a regular bike and not using the motor, but that also means that when you turn the bike off, your light's still on. You have to come down here and turn it off manually. So that is a bit of a trade-off there. Make sure you don't forget, because that would drain your main battery pack on your bike. So that'd be really a bummer if you were at work and you forgot, and now you have a dead battery for your ride home. The one in back is also manually operated, so it's got a power button on the right side. This is also a Spinninga that's I think they do 4 LEDs on here. They're quite bright. Even in the daylight I can see it pretty well, but you do have to turn it on and off with the button here. And this one actually is not integrated electronically, so it's actually got 2 AAA batteries powering it. So you do have to change those out when they run out, and then you also you got to remember to turn it on and off manually. So it's a similar thing where if you forget that, then it might be dead the next time you come back to it. Just make sure you keep that in mind. If you're used to riding a bike that has more integrated lights, then that could take some time for you to adjust to. Great commuting saddle here too. This is from Cella Real, their Freeway Gel saddle. So it's soft, it's nice and wide, feels great to sit on, and you get a suspension seat post too. So this is, I believe it's a Suntour suspension seat post here. So it's got a bolt in the bottom of the seat post so that you can adjust the preload on that. And these don't have a ton of travel. It's 40 to 50 millimeters of travel here, but it makes a surprisingly noticeable difference for a more comfortable ride, especially since you've got a suspension fork up at the front here. So this is the same SR Sun Tour fork that we see on their new Summit hardtail mountain bike here. So it's pretty adjustable here. You've got the preload on the left there, and then you've got hydraulic lockout over on the right. That's a good high-performing fork, and so that'll be very comfortable for commuting in the city. Let's talk about the drivetrain a bit here, because this is a nice upgrade as well here. They're using KMC stainless steel chains, good high-quality chains. You've got the alloy bash guard on the outside here, and the Shimano Acera derailleur. This is a good quality derailleur from Shimano that, you know, it's their entry level is Tourney, and then after that you've got Altus, and then, you know, Acera and Alivio for more high-end stuff. Good high performing. They've got the steel derailleur guard on here, helps to protect it from impacts, and that's also good if you were to order this direct to consumer. Helps to protect that from damage during shipping. Obviously it also protects your motor cabling there, and you've got a nickel plated cassette back here that is 11 to 32 teeth. Great range paired with a 48 tooth chainring up front, so it's going to be good for hill climbing as well as great for high-end speed. So you'll be able to pretty easily get up to your top speed, which is 25 miles per hour. Now the way that Magnum configures their electric bikes, they're kind of a class 2, class 3 hybrid. So they've got a throttle on them that will take you up to 20 miles per hour, but the throttle always cuts out at 20 miles per hour. Now with pedal assist, depending on what level you're in, you can go as fast as 25 miles per hour. So they call that, you know, class 3 mode. Now a true class 3 would be able to go 28 miles per hour, and we're a few miles per hour under that, but, you know, close enough. For the electrical system here, it's a Das Kit motor in the rear hub there. It's a 500 watt motor, peaks at about 700 watts, and it is a high output motor. These are rated for 90 newton meters of torque, which is really a lot for a hub motor. Now it doesn't feel as zippy as on, say, a smaller 20-inch, maybe a fat tire bike, because you've got big tires, big wheels on here. These are 27.5 by 2.35. So that means less mechanical advantage for the hub motor, so it doesn't feel as zippy. However, that gives you a much more comfortable ride. Having the wider diameter wheels means a good low attack angle, so rolling over bumps is going to feel smooth. These have some nice volume to these tires too, 2.35 inches. That's getting on up to what would be considered like a plus sized mountain bike tire. You know, those start at about 2.6 inches, so that does a lot too. Good comfort. I would like to see some puncture protection on these tires, because as far as I could tell, they don't include any. So you might want to, maybe some sealant to add to that, or you can put some Tannis armor inserts in there. Another feature I would like to see added is some reflective sidewall striping on there. Gives you better visibility from the side, and that's a big safety thing for bicycles, especially if you ride at night. Now some of the stuff does stand out from the side, like the Magnum lettering, and this particular bash guard they've picked is very reflective around the edges, so that does stand out well under lights, but still reflective sidewall stripes would go a long ways. They've done a great job with the appearance here. Almost all of the cabling fully integrated into the frame. Looks very sleek. You've got 4 different accent colors to choose from, but the base frame is always black. And then you got the blue, I think there's a green and a copper and maybe like a sand color. Coming around to the cockpit, they've got these ergonomic, it's like this full leather stitched grips. They're quite comfortable, and they are locking as well, so they're not going to spin around on you if you're bearing down on them. Just a little bit of a rise to the handlebars and a little bit of a back sweep. Not a whole lot, but enough that it has a like almost cruiser-esque feel. It's pretty comfortable. You've got a flick bell up there on the right, and then there's your throttle. These are thumb throttles, but they're a little bit different than most thumb throttles that are low and variable with a lot of travel to them. These have a lot less travel, and they feel kind of weird if you're not used to it, but you know, it still gets the job done. And the display here is an upgrade from the Magnum UI6 and a lot of the older Magnum bikes that use the Das Kit L7. So now we've got the C7. The major changes to this display is that the buttons are not on the display. They are on this dedicated pad over here on the left, which is great because then you don't have to take your hand off the grip to change your assist level or maybe turn on your backlight. You can just reach it right from the grip there. All right, let's go ahead and fire up the display. So you just quick press that power button, and then it'll show you a few stats, and then boom, it fires right up. They always start in pedal assist level 1. You can see your battery readout on the bottom right there, which is 5 bars, so not super precise. Those are 20% steps, and they do fluctuate a bit under load, so it can be a little bit difficult to tell how much range you have left. But fortunately, this is a fairly high range bike. They estimate a minimum range of 25 miles on the low end. So that's if you have it like all the way up in pedal assist level assist, or you're just really using the throttle for most of it, you know, 25 miles is about your minimum. But if you are pedaling using some lower levels of assist, then you can get as much as 55 miles. So you shouldn't really have to worry too much as far as range goes. You can cycle your trip readouts in the bottom left for your odometer or trip distance and timer, and you do that by pressing the set button, just quick pressing it. And then you can quick press the power button to turn on the backlight. And you'll see an indicator right there that says the lights are on, but they're not on. Remember, like I said, these are manual lights, so you do still have to turn that on manually. That's just for the display backlight. Go ahead and turn that off. You've got a motor power readout on the top left there that goes up to 6 bars to show how many watts the motor is drawing from the battery. Now you can also engage walk mode by holding down the minus button, and that will activate the rear wheel at you know, around 4 miles per hour or so. So it makes it easy to walk the bike without having to push it. You can get into settings as well by holding down plus and minus for 3 or 4 seconds. However, as you'll see, the settings are password protected, and I don't know what the password is. So we're not gonna go in there, but that's where you would go to, you know, maybe you need to change your wheel size because you put something different on there. You wanna change from imperial over to metric, or just make other tweaks. Sometimes you can change like the throttle's top speed in there. I'm not sure if you can on this display or not, but in the settings there is where you would do that. And sometimes you can change how pedal assist behaves. So on the Magnum, I think all of their new bikes, the way that the pedal assist behaves is if you're in level 0, no pedal assist, but you still have full throttle. And then going up to level 1, will give you pedal assist up to 10 miles per hour, and then you just keep on going up in small increments all the way up to level 6, which is going to get you to 25 miles per hour. Now, something kind of strange on these, I'm just not used to it, so it feels strange to me, is that in level 6, if you hit the plus button, you will cycle right back around to 0, and then you can just keep going up. It doesn't go the other way. You can't cycle down past 0 to 6, which is a good safety thing if you're just trying to turn it off. But being able to loop around on the high end feels kind of strange, especially if you're like me and you're used to just mashing the plus button a whole bunch of times to make sure you're in the highest level. It's not going to work out so well here. You'll just keep cycling around. So maybe just something to get used to. No USB charging ports here. There used to be on the older Magnum bikes, and it wasn't on the display, it was actually on the side of the battery. But since they have changed their batteries around to these fully integrated ones, you lose the USB charging port, but it's worth it in my opinion, because it's just such a sleek integration. They've really done a great job here. Fits in there seamlessly. This helps it to be a bit more stealthy. So for somebody who sees you riding past, they might not even know that it's an electric bike. It doesn't look obviously like one. The motor's not too loud. It's just such a great job on the integration here. And the key is spring loaded, so when you just turn it down here, it will unlock the battery, and there's a little spring in there too, so now you can just pop it out. Very easy to remove with one hand. And this is a 48 volt 12 amp hour battery weighing in at 7.6 pounds, so not too bad for weight. Pretty easy to carry. These are lithium, nickel, cobalt, manganese chemistry batteries, which I actually don't really know much about, other than that is a variation of lithium ion, and I think it has a reputation for being more energy dense. But I'm not a battery chemistry expert, so maybe someone who knows a bit more can chime in the comments and fill us in here. It's got a charging port right there up on the top right, which is a great location for it. Let me get it back in here so I can show you what I mean, and it does just clicks right back in there. And look at the key, it kind of folds down in here, so it won't take up a whole lot of space on a keychain fob. This is a great setup. And having the charging port up here high and on the side of the frame means when you have the bike plugged in, it's less likely that the cranks are going to get tangled up in your charging cord if you have to kind of move the bike around a little bit. It's a great spot for it, and of course you can charge the battery off the bike since it is removable. There are no bottle cage bosses on this one, which is another departure from the older Magnum UI6, which did have some on the top tube here, and there's quite a bit of room right here. But it's you'll still be able to mount stuff. It's not a round frame; it's got sort of an oblong shape to it, so it will be easier to secure any accessories that you need to mount on there. These tires are great for city commuting. Very, very efficient tread that still has good traction side to side, so you don't have to worry about losing traction while turning. Great rolling efficiency. The controller is down on the near the bottom bracket right down here. I believe it's an 18 amp controller and pure sine wave. Now it's kind of an interesting positioning because it seems like it's a little bit exposed, but this is good protective housing, and all the heat vents are exposed to the wind, so it's going to help it with heat management. Don't have to worry as much about it overheating. And last but not least, we got the kickstand here, adjustable length kickstand. It is center mounted, which is kind of a bummer because you can lock it up with the pedals if you're moving the bike backwards. It makes chain maintenance more difficult, especially for a big bike like this. So you might need someone to help you and hold it up balanced, maybe lean it against a wall. Okay, I wanted to show you guys some third-person shots on the Voyager here, just so you can get an idea for if you're a bigger rider like me, how well you're going to fit on it. So I'm 6'3". I do have the saddle all the way up at the highest level. I can't quite get full extensions here, but it's close enough. I do feel pretty comfy on the bike, and I've got the stem set at a higher level, so a little bit more upright as opposed to a forward position. So I'm going to let my partner here, Ricky, take the camera here so you can get some third angle shots. Yeah, it's a very comfy, feels almost like a cruiser, like with this nice upright bit, and I could even get the handlebars further back if I needed to, but this feels like a pretty solid setup right here for somebody of my height. Now, starting off, as I like to do, I have the motor completely off. It's in level 0, and I'm just gonna ride it like a bike a little bit. So this is, if you're wanting to get some more exercise, maybe you accidentally ran out of battery. I'm going to go ahead and shift this on down all the way to level 1, and it's shifting very smoothly thanks to the guys at eBikes USA getting this set up and tuned for me. And it feels nice. That's a 32 tooth cog back there for first gear, so we've got a nice brisk cadence, even though I'm only going about 9 miles an hour. This would be great if you needed to climb up some hills. So if you live in a more hilly area like maybe Seattle, it'd be a great fit for that. We'll shift up a couple of gears here, and this feels pretty easy. Even though I don't have any motor assistance, I feel like I'd be able to ride this like a bike and be able to go a long ways. That can really help out if you're worried about running out of battery and maybe doing a longer range ride with some friends. We're gonna do a little bit with the throttle here. So I've still got it in level 0, but the throttle is fully active, and it is variable. It doesn't have very much travel to it, so it's difficult to feather it and get just a little bit. So you're really going to be doing full throttle activation. And like I said, 90 newton meters of torque, it is pretty brisk. So we're at 10 miles an hour right now. Get that throttle, and it feels pretty satisfying. Really takes off. Now remember, the throttle has a maximum speed of 20 miles per hour, and it's really 21 miles per hour is where it appears to be shutting off here, which is close enough. Keep it in that class 2 legal status. The motor's not very loud on these bikes. I'm actually quite impressed with how quiet it is. It helps it to be a bit more stealthy, not so obvious of an e-bike, especially since they're small motors. I'm gonna slow down here and then show you the motor again, a close-up so you can hear that volume. So that is as loud as it gets, right at 21 miles per hour. Okay, now to do some pedal assist, so we can kind of try that out. So when you bump it up to level 1, that cuts off at about 10 miles per hour here. So nice for if you only want help at low speed, because this can actually be a really popular configuration if you really only want motor power starting out. Once you get moving, you're good. So we'll slow down here to a near stop and get down to a few miles per hour. And when I start pedaling, that motor kicks in very quickly. I'm actually quite impressed with the tuning of their cadence sensors here. It almost feels like a torque sensor. It actually kicks in that quickly. I'm gonna bump it on up to, we'll go up to level 6, all the way to the highest level of assist, so that I can show you what that responsiveness is like. All right, so we'll get started here. I'm not using the throttle at all, just pedaling. So there is a little bit more of a delay than I thought with it. I think when you're down in level 1 at those low speeds, it's a little bit more responsive. And then level 6, you got to cycle it a time or two for it to kick in. That is typical for cadence sensors. They measure your pedal cadence, they don't measure your pedal torque. So they're not as responsive as like a Bosch mid-drive might be. But, you know, as on the flip side, you get a throttle, which you can't have with a Bosch mid-drive. So trade-offs. Very stable bike. I mean, even, you know, riding at level assist and no-handed feels great. No noticeable frame flex, which is a nice thing, having the high step. They've actually got a step-thru version of the bike, which is called the Navigator. Same exact components, you know, same motor, same battery. The only difference is that you get a step-thru frame, more approachable, easy to mount and dismount, may have a little bit of frame flex by comparison, whereas this high step one feels quite a bit more sturdy. Now we'll talk a little bit about just the ride comfort side of things, which is excellent. It feels great. The handlebars are positioned well. The little bit of a rise and back sweep feels nice. I'm able to sit very upright and comfortable. I don't quite have full leg extensions, but that's typical for me. Very few bikes actually fit my height at 6'3". So for average to larger riders, this is going to be a solid fit. The suspension feels great. You get that suspension seat post in there, and then the front suspension, I haven't adjusted it at all. It seems to be dialed in pretty well for my size. You know, we're only riding on the bike path here. We're not doing any serious off-roading, and that's really what this is targeted for, since you've got those slick tires and you've got fenders and everything. So you're fully kitted for commuting around. Ooh, check this out. There's one of those unicycles. 2 of them. One of these days we'll review one of those. Anyways, it feels solid as far as just the geometry of it, and the controls are well laid out. Everything is very easy to reach from the grips, whether that's the control pad for the display, or the throttle, or your shifter, or even your horn. You gotta move your hand a little bit to get to that flick bell, but it's still pretty good. There's a lot of e-bikes that just have such crowded handlebars that it can be a little bit difficult to reach stuff sometime. Okay guys, we are done for the day with the Magnum Voyager. We've made it back to eBikes USA. Be sure to check these guys out if you are in the Front Range area in Colorado. They've got tons of great electric bikes. I want to say thanks to them for letting me borrow this Magnum bike for the day for this review. So this is the Voyager, one of their newer bikes here, commuting bike. It's similar to their UI6, one of their older models, but it's got a lot of upgrades here, some really solid components. I love the integration of the battery, and of course having it available from dealers so you can get in and test ride it. Always a nice feature. All right guys, you can check out the description here for a link to the full written review back on ElectricBikeReview.com. We measure everything, record all the specs on these bikes so you can see exactly what you're getting. You can compare it to other bikes. We've got forums on there so you can talk to other riders. And you can also, of course, chime in the comments section here on YouTube. Thanks for riding along with us today. We'll see you out here next time.